Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Johnny Jett here with an answer to a question from a subscriber. I've recently been asked, how do you set people as face or heel in Fire Promoter? And I thought I'd just go ahead and make a dedicated little video to answering that question, because it's not super intuitive, just on the face of it. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to walk you guys through it just so the information is out there, because again, I don't think a lot of Fire Promoter information has really been like super well disseminated to the larger internet, and to the larger fan base. So you're going to go ahead and go into Fire Promoter. I'm just going to go ahead. I'll start with a custom promotion because that's what you got to do, obviously. I'm just going to go ahead and pick Power Pro. It won't make a difference really. Easy and 8 promotions. I'm not going to fiddle with any of this. I might, at some point, I might do a video like how to set up all of Fire Promoter and like how to get your guys exactly right, because I've done that once or twice. But okay, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to go in here. We'll pick our guys because, all right, if I go with who it automatically selects here, it's all going to be from my face faction. I've got Power Pro divided into a couple of different factions. Some of them are just completely empty, and I need to get rid of them at this point. But I've already got my heels and faces separated right here. So if I go with this, all of these guys are going to come from my face faction. And if I go into it as is, it's just every single one of these wrestlers are going to be face. They're all going to be in the same faction. It's not going to import all of these different factions because all of these different wrestlers are not on my roster initially. And you can't have more than 6 wrestlers on your roster initially when you start Fire Promoter. So you have like a choice between either free or signed, and you can actually just take people completely out of the mode if you wanted to. But so what I would do if I was going to set up like Power Pro, for example, I would need 3 faces and 3 heels. So I would go ahead, I would just tick that out right there. I keep backing out too far. Then I'd come in here, I'd grab three heels. It doesn't particularly matter which heels or which faces for this demonstration, but I would grab 3 faces, 3 heels, because that'll give me a face faction and a heel faction. Very simple, right? It gets a little trickier once you're actually into it. Once you try to start fiddling with, like, you know, popularity and that sort of thing, that becomes a little more involved. But what you would want to do is you'd want to make sure your home territory is correct. You'd grab your 3 faces, your 3 heels. You'd go on into the mode, and I'm just gonna breeze past all of the introductory stuff, which fires up every single time you play Fire Promoter. You get the same intro messages. And so here you can see I've got my six people here. I've got my 3 faces, I've got my 3 heels. So that's how you set up the faces and heels. You would go before the game starts, before you actually set up Fire Promoter. You would divide your roster into face and heel factions. You would grab 3 faces and 3 heels, or you could do all heels, all faces, all neutral, however you want to do it. But you would have to set up which alignment they are before the game. Now, you could set it up in the game, but you don't want to do that initially because there's in-game repercussions for like screwing with your stables, which I found out. So you would, for example, if you wanted to do that, you could go into, create stable. To go in here, you would go ahead, you would transfer wrestler, like, for example, Heather Lexus, I'll put her in no affiliation. That'll allow me to create a new stable, neutral, I'll call them whatever, it's fine. And they're gonna be my neutral faction, and it would allow me to pick Heather Lexus. But I could also go ahead, I could make them a babyface faction, I could make them a heel faction. You could easily do that. You could, but this new resulting stable will not be as immediately popular. They won't be as over as the existing stables that you pre-made. At least that's my experience. I could be wrong on that. If I am, I'm happy to be corrected. But that's been my experience with Fire Promoter. because it's based on their popularity, the individual wrestlers' popularity, in whatever region they're in. And it takes the average into account. So if I back out to here, go into here, I can look at the stable data, and that'll show me, like, what stables are most popular, and how they're popular, and where they're popular, and all that stuff. But it's an average of the ratings that these people have in their different regions. It's an average of all of the wrestlers in any given faction. I hope I'm being clear on explaining that. It's 2:30 in the morning as I record this. But yeah, so that's how you would set them up. Now, this is not a question that's been asked, but I will ramble a little bit for just for the sake of educating. So if I were to go in here, you'll notice that I moved Heather out of the face faction, but you'll notice that all of my faces here are more over than my heels. You'll notice that, for example, like Jordan King, Eho Del Phoenix, and Heather Alexis, there's a B, there's a B, there's a C, there's a C, but then you get down here and it's just DD, right? Okay, so the reason for that is Fire Promoter, for whatever reason it does it, it gives popularity to your initial 6 wrestlers based on the wrestler order that they're in the game. So I'll back out all the way. Yeah, this is fine. It doesn't matter. I'll just back out all the way to my wrestler order. I'm going to go in here real quick. Team edit, and then wrestler order. So it's actually based on this. It's based on the placement that they are listed in the wrestler order. And it will always give you one person with a B in your native region and then C's in all the other regions. One person with a B in your native region and D's in all others. 2 people with a C and a D, and then 2 people with all D's. The people who are lower in the order will always get the less popularity. I don't think that's a very good system, but that is how the game functions. So if you wanted to specifically tailor how popular your if you really, like, badly, you are affronted at the idea of Great Khali being more popular than AJ Styles. If I was going to start a promotion with these 6 people right here, I would have to move AJ ahead of Khali so that AJ is more popular than the Great Khali in Fire Promoter in my initial 6 people. Now the thing is, if they enter the world after that, if they are free agents that you have to sign after the game begins, that popularity is calculated entirely differently. And it doesn't I don't know why it's set up like that, but there's like an entire calculator that's actually been worked out. I forget who exactly made it. I'm blanking on the name. He's another guy on Critical Club, though. But he made an entire calculator for figuring out how popular a wrestler will be in Fire Promoter based on the math that the game uses. So, for example, I'm just gonna go into this for a minute here, because this is like such a weird thing, but I'm gonna just go into a brand new edit that I've never messed with or anything like that. So what actually determines popularity is mostly right here in the skill menu. If you're being crazy like I am and building an entire Fire Promoter, a fully fleshed out Fire Promoter, which I've done I've done for some stupid reason. If you're building a fully fleshed out Fire Promoter with 16, 17 actually promotions and, all the wrestlers that are necessary for it, and you want to get their popularity just right, or at least damn near just right, what you have to do is so you'll open up the calculator in a different freaking window. What you'll do is you'll come in here, you will figure out what country/region they're from, and then you will look on the calculator. This is how I've done it. I'm sure there's like a mod or a program to make this easier, but I'm an idiot, so I just do it completely manual. You'll look at what country the region is, and then you have to figure out which table to calculate the numbers on. Like the USA, Japan, Latin America, Europe, these are all like where the popularities are. Those are the 4 different regions in Fire Promoter. And different countries fall into different regions. Some of them are very obvious, right? Obviously, America is the USA region. Canada also in the USA region for some reason or another. Japan also, it's in Japan. That makes sense. All that makes sense. Fine. UK is in Europe. Brexit never happened in Fire Promoter, I guess. France, Russia, whatever. That's all Europe. That makes sense. That's perfectly fine. But if we come down a little ways, like China is not in Japan, obviously, but it's also not in Latin America. It's also not in the USA. It's not in Europe. So where's China? It's calculated as an other country. And there's like a whole list of other countries. Like, for example, both Koreas, Mongolia, Thailand, Australia. These are all other countries, and they have an entirely different calculator compared to the like USA and that sort of stuff. But this is going to get very inside baseball very quickly. But so you're gonna pick your country region for the edit, right? I'm gonna be very simple for this. It's America. America Ichiban. We're gonna go into skills now. Okay, so this is where the magic happens, as it were. Okay, so let's say I want to make the absolute, like the most basic, simple, nothing wrestler. He's very unpopular. He just started out. Johnny Newface. Okay? So, to do that, this is actually a pretty decent, like, this is a good setup. This is a good setup for your very, very basic wrestler. Okay? Right here is the, like, on the first table, you would see what his charisma is. Right? And I promise this is a lot of math, but I also promise that if you're crazy and you're setting up your own Fire Promoter from scratch and you want it to be exactly the way you want it because you're a control freak who thinks that this is a good way to use your time, you will go into the calculator. You will look at what this letter value represents on the table that your region is. So the USA for this one, this is, say it's 20 points. This is 20 points. E equals 20 points. This isn't content. But E equals 20 points. You would then go into the next table, which is your fight style. This one right here. Okay? Orthodox. Orthodox equals 5 points. So I've got 25 points on this edit so far. For popularity. Okay? Makes sense. 25 points on this edit for popularity. Third table I'm going to go to is going to be his rank. So this is going to be 0 points. So rank, I guess, and I swear to God, I don't actually know the answer. I assume that this is a representation of where they fall on the card. That's what I would think, right? That's what would make sense, because the more over they are, the more, like, the better their push, the higher their rank would be. Right? That's what my brain thinks. I don't know if that's true, though, because the game is very... the calculation is so strange. Because, like, I don't know, it gives you, like, significantly more points if you are S rank than if you are E, right? Like, an S rank equals, like, 15 in the US. Like, the higher you're pushed, the bigger you are. But you would think that this would be very region specific. You would think it would be tied specifically to, like, just America, because you're pushed as like as a god tier wrestler in America. It shouldn't be you're pushed as a god tier wrestler everywhere, and that makes you more popular everywhere, right? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking that, but I don't know. Like this whole calculator thing is just a little bit strange. But if you want to really make the most of your fire promoter nonsense, you have to look at the calculator to figure this out. And I've done this for 655 wrestlers at the last time I counted, because I'm an idiot. But I love Fire Promoter, and I love Fire Pro. But yeah, man. So if you are really trying to make your wrestlers as popular as you want them to be, specifically in Fire Promoter, because it doesn't have any impact on the rest of the game as far as I can tell, except for like changing the number ratings in some places. Like, this stuff doesn't even change anything in the actual game. Well, I mean, like, obviously fight style and return skill. These two do. But rank and charisma don't really change anything except for, like, the match ratings, which are just empty numbers that come up after a match is simmed or played. And, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm going off lack of sleep, and I wanted to answer a question, but it's gotten a little bit away from me here. Yeah, so yeah, but like the different fighting styles will have different numerical values. They will give you, higher numbers or more popularity or less popularity. Some of them actually have negative values attached to them as far as popularity go. Like, for example, a ground-based wrestler, which I think is just basically like straight up shoot submission wrestling. Yeah, that actually like has a negative 10 value attached to it. You will lose like significant popularity in America. Not necessarily other regions, but in America, you will lose 10 popularity for being a submission specialist. Not like a Bret Hart submission specialist, but like a shooter. And it's interesting, like, because I don't know, it gives you like an insight into the way the game is designed and the way that people, like the developers intended the game to be played. I don't generally get like super deep into the math of Fire Pro, but like that's a whole thing, and I know a lot of creators do. I know a lot of creators do actually get really deep into the math of it, and like how different moves impact spirit, and how, they impact breath and spirit and all the other hidden attributes that like are not anywhere on any of this. They're not anywhere here. They're just these magical, invisible numbers that float around in the ether, hidden by the game. They're just the magic freaking math that happens behind the scenes. But I know that there are people who get really into that, and they build, like, specifically they build wrestlers with moves that will diminish spirit at a certain point, and I can never possibly get to that level. I have played 10,000 hours of Fire Pro. I will never get to the point where I am measuring like spirit and breath and, figuring out, okay, well, this move needs to hit exactly now so that it does this, and it set up all these sequences to exact precise finishes, and I'm never going to be that good. And I have nothing but like admiration for those guys. That's crazy nonsense. I just like playing a video game and watching colorful moves happen. I like watching I like watching colorful characters roll around on a fictional map. That's my thing with Fire Pro. I could never fine-tune edits and like they get so into the clockwork aspect of it, and I am absolutely amazed at some of the edit makers out there who do a lot, like all of this testing and stuff. Like, bro, this is way off topic at this point. I am just talking about Fire Pro at this point, but like I've got a ton of edits. I've made a lot of people. Okay, like I've made a lot of people. I've played a lot of this video game, and I am comfortable with how all of these edits perform. I have not spent a fraction of the time that these other edit makers do on their edits, man. They're crazy. They are amazing. Like the old veterans who've been playing Fire Pro for years and years and years, they're leagues beyond me, and I will never be close to them. But man, like it's an amazing game in that you can do all of these different things in it. I just think that's so fascinating. You can have so many different approaches to edit making and edit making philosophy, and this is really off topic at this point. I don't even know if this is postable at this point, but I mean, Fire Pro is just like a really fascinating video game that you can do so much with, but like, I don't think that a lot of the materials are readily available for people who want to learn how to do them. I think like all of this information, all the tutorials and the guides and like literally years worth of work has been put into like figuring out how to do this video game. And I don't think that's a thing for any other wrestling game. And it's just, I don't know, I'm at a loss for words sometimes when I think of like just how in-depth this game is and how much of this information is never going to be known by most people, because like there's not a lot of people who go on Critical Club where all of these guides are currently still archived. Like all of the guides for like edit making philosophy and stuff that go back to like beyond like Fire Pro Returns, which is like the game that came right before this one that I was in love with for years. There are so many games, you know, so many guides that go back so long on how to actually utilize this game to its fullest potential and different ways to approach it. And I don't know, it's just it's crazy. And I want to help disseminate that information as best I can, because I don't know, man, like someday those guides might not be there. And I think the game might be, even if it's like, you know, abandonware by that point, and, you know, just like floating around as some old files on the internet, and people are going to maybe come back to it. Maybe they'll look back at this stuff. I don't know, but I feel like that information's not going to be there if, you know, people don't hear about it when it's still active and relevant. I don't know. But if I can, I'll answer any questions I can about this video game that I'm unnecessarily hype about. I've loved Fire Pro for a long time, and it's just really cool. I don't know. Like, I like a lot of other stuff, but I think there's something like just very chill about learning this video game. I write, and I do a lot of different creative outlets and stuff, and you know, still Fire Pro is just a unique thing. I don't know. I'm rambling. I'm just talking at this point in circles. But I really like Fire Pro, and if I can help people understand aspects of it more, I'm happy to. And if I get too inside baseball on it, I'll do that. But I'll try to reel it back in. Again, it's very early in the morning for me. I don't know why I'm awake, but yeah. So I guess this is going to be content for the day. If you guys are enjoying me rambling about a video game, go ahead, leave that down there in the comments section. Like, subscribe, and all the other stuff, all the calls to action. Maybe I can get into some other video games that I'm super, like, unnecessarily into. Maybe I can talk about Civ 3 or Civ 4 at some point. Maybe I can talk to you about Crusader Kings. I don't know. Maybe I can just go on long rants about history. Whatever. If you guys are having a good time, let me know in the comments. If you guys have any other questions, hey, hit me up. It might take me a little while to get to them, but I do read every comment. I read, whatever's sent to me. And if there's any way I can, like, respond, or if I can, help somebody understand, I mean, I'm not really a big tutorial guy, but I'll happily, like, do whatever I can to demonstrate or show off or explain, the games I understand and the games that I play a lot. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna cut it off right here, I suppose. God, I talked for 25 minutes Okay, well, I hope you guys were educated and entertained. Maybe edutained. So I'm gonna cut it off. Thanks for watching, guys, and bye for now.